Hello, good afternoon, squinting at you. It's coming up to 1 PM on Monday the 17th of November. I'm just setting out on a hot tent camp. There's my bike behind me. This is the start or the finish of the Bath to Bristol bicycle track. It runs along the course of the old Midland Railway from Bristol Temple Meads into Green Park behind me that way. I'm going along here about 10 miles and I'm going to camp for the second time in a year at the old Mangotsfield Junction station. So tonight I'm going to try something I've never done before. I'm going to try cooking pizza on a camping stove and some garlic bread as well. Plus I've got some Spanish lager. More about that later on. Although I'm only going 10 miles, I want to get out there quite early because I'm going to chop and gather some wood. So let me explain. So the bike is my giant Tough Road SLR2. The reason I want to get to my intended camp spot early, a couple of hours before I even think about putting the tent up, is I want to chop some dead standing wood up and dry it out on the burner tonight. So in there I've got about £10 worth of dried kiln logs. I bought those from my local hardware shop about a year ago. So I'll start the fire off with that, and then the idea is to dry the damper stuff right opposite my proposed camp spot. There's some wood, so I'm pretty sure I'll find some dead standing wood there. So I've got a foldable buck saw and my axe, so I spend about an hour or so processing some wood. So next stop, Mangotsfield Junction station, 10 miles that way. As you can see, there's a lot of autumnal colours. The trees going brown, shedding their leaves, a lot of the leaves on the track bed, red berries coming out. It's a lovely crisp day, blue sky. There's a bit of a nip in the air actually, as easterly wind. So I think the hot stove tonight would be very welcome. Once you get moving, the bike feels fine. There is a lot of weight over the front wheel, especially on the handlebars, but that would be consumed and that bag would just be folded up tomorrow, a lot less weight. You may see it's a lovely blue sky, cloudless actually, after about a fortnight of rain. As regards all the luggage I'm carrying, I've made sure I've looked up all the specifications for the bike and the racks. So for example, on the front, they're giant dedicated front fork panniers by Giant, and it tells you the maximum capacity to carry 7.5 kg each side. Combined it says 15 kilograms, and I weighed it yesterday, both of them, it comes to 8 kilograms, so I'm slightly over half the maximum capacity. And in the back I weighed that, and it's exactly the same as what I took on my camping trip back in the summer, and again about half the maximum capacity, so I'm well within the parameters. I'm less than a mile from my destination now, the old Mangotsfield Junction, which is now part of the Bath to Bristol bike track. And here we are. It was a really big station in its day. It had 3 island platforms, so 6 platforms in total. That was the main 2, so this would be Bath to Bristol, the other side would be heading up to Midlands. So I'm going to camp up there somewhere discreetly. I've got a spot I'm going to go and recce, but I just want to overshoot it for a couple of reasons actually. So that cyclist has come in along what would have been the old railway coming in from the Midlands and the north, joining it here, going on up to Bristol. But the first thing I want to do here is go and look down on tonight's destination. This subway that runs under the old railway It's somewhere around here, I believe. There it is, down there. So not far from the end of the platforms actually. So tonight I'm going to ride down there, that side, and cross underneath, right underneath here, and we'll emerge from there. I think that'd be pretty good in the dark. Oh yeah. So this would be coming towards Bath on the right, the Midlands and the North on the left, and the station right in front of us. As I said, there were 3 island platforms here, so 6 platforms in total. 2 on this major big triangular curve. There's one there, one on the other side, and there's also a platform off to the left. There's not much of that left actually. It's a fantastic picture of a train here actually, and it wasn't as wooded then. You can really see the slope of the hills going off to the left. Can you imagine that coming along here now? Once upon a time that would have been hard to imagine, but with the help of a bit of AI editing, I knocked that out last night. Anyway, let's go and find some firewood. I think it's quite overgrown, the platform that side. Not much of it left. So I know from last time, if I just find a gap in the trees and go in, there should be plenty of dead wood along there. I can cut that down. I'm going to plonk myself behind that wall there tonight. Let's go along here. Look for a gap in the trees. Here we are, let's try this. Go through here and have a look. The wall here, I don't think that's the platform. I think probably the platform's there. I started hot tent camping about 4 or 5 years ago, so I'm still learning, but what I've realised is bring a little bit of dry wood. That will really help dry out the damp wood I'm likely to collect, and also put my gloves and my bucksaw in there and another bag to collect it in, so I don't have to start going through the panniers right here. That's what I'm going to do now. They're just wedged inside there, can you see? So I've got a heavy duty refuse sack for some logs, got my gardening gloves, and that's my bucksaw in a telescopic form. I'll just assemble that quickly then, and then we'll take a wander in there, see if we can find some wood. There you go, that takes about 2 or 3 minutes to put that together, and it's held together by quite a strong tension and a support bar. That blade's not going anywhere. I did once have a bow saw, but I found that was too springy, and if you just caught the wood, say a knot or a bit of hard piece of wood, it would sometimes spring out, and I just considered that too dangerous. It was only a matter of time before I had an accident with that, whereas this one is very, very robust. Well, considering we've had a fortnight of pretty steady rain, some torrential towards the end of last week, it's very dry in here actually, which is what I was hoping. So you can see I've started to fill my bag, and I'm making up 3 piles of wood really. All of this is dead fallen wood. All of this is either fallen wood or dead standing wood. So I'm making 3 piles, like pencil type thickness, medium. I've got an axe, so I can chop that in half, and now I want some logs. So I should get about, hopefully 5 or 6 logs out of that, possibly 10. Then I will split those down the middle. That'll make 20. Combined with what I got, that should be enough to keep me warm tonight and cook my pizza, garlic bread. So I think I got a good selection of wood there. Got some in there already. So got my starting wood, the thin kind of dry stuff that snapped easily, finger diameter. Then the medium stuff. I will split that, so twice whatever's there. Then there's the big logs. And again, because they're flat now, that's very easy to split those with an axe. I'll do that once I'm over there at my campsite. So I've got how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that's 24 logs plus what I've got. I think that'll be okay for tonight. We're only here for one night after all. Okay, let's lob that in there. I can literally just walk back over, then we're going to suss out where I'm going to camp tonight. Well, that is a good old bag full. I can just carry that literally just over the track there. Put my gloves away. Always bring the gardening gloves out, and that also helps for assembling the stove jack later on, the flue, because that's actually quite shiny, very thin grade titanium which bends, and it's almost like bending a razor blade. I always use those to roll it. Also, plus the fact they're quite sooty inside, protects your hands, plus the fact I can monitor the stove tonight with those without burning my fingers. So I had a few comments on the way about, oh, you're loaded up, mate, and I just kind of let it go over my head. Everything I've got I'm using. I want to be cosy tonight. Why would I want to come out here minimal and be freezing cold? So this is my camp spot, just beyond this wall. Platform there, it's the riders going up towards Yates. In the old days the trains would be going up towards the Midlands, Bristol that way. Then there's a Bath platform over there behind that wall. You can see it was a massive station right in the base of the triangle now, really, so where it's at its widest really. Whether this was all enclosed indoors or not, I don't know. I know there was lots of pillars here and huge canopies, but whether it is all actually indoors, I don't know. I'm going to take my water bag off here. That's 4 litres in there, plus the fact I've got water there, squash there, should be ample. I want to get into one of my rear panniers and get the axe out. I had tried putting the axe in the front, but that just made that bar bag just a little bit too heavy for my liking, really. So let's get the axe out. There's my axe. It's a Draper forged steel wooden handled axe. Just got that from Screwfix. I think it's about 12, 14 quid, something like that. I got the blade cover from a previous axe, and can you see there's a rubberized cover there just to protect the sharpness of the blade. So 2 points of protection in my pannier bags. It's a very sharp axe that, so again the gloves will be going on. Okay, my gloves, my axe. I'm just going to go in these bushes. I'll show you why. Because I need something hard to split the logs on. I don't want to damage the platform. That's an historic building. But you can see, it looks like the youth around here probably coming here drinking. They put that there as a seat, so that would be a fantastic chopping block. So that's where I'm going to split the wood. Swept away all the sawdust. Put the axe blade cover back on. Got to drag this back to the tent now. Stoop below this branch and back up to my campsite. Once you split that wood, not only do you feel you've doubled your stock of logs, all the inside looks really dry, can you see? That should burn quite well tonight. And I've got 10 pounds, 10 lbs, 10 pounds in weight of logs I bought from Bath. Okay, I'm going to start getting ready to camp, I think. So I've put the weapons away. I'm just going to move the bike along actually, and I'm probably going to have my tent here, and then what I'll do is I'll rope it out on guy ropes. I am going to ride down to that tunnel tonight. I don't like the idea of leaving my bike here even for 10-15 minutes. I think I'll ride down. So the tent is going to be going about here. Let's move the bike along there just for a bit, and I'm amazed more people don't do this. I always bring a ground sheet out just so I can start chucking things on, you know, so things don't get lost in the grass or get muddy, that sort of thing. So I've got the ground sheet out. There's my mountain cattle camping hot tent. That's the TP. It's octagonal footprint, one single pole. Half of the octagon inside, the rear half will have the inner in. And there's my sleep mat, which I'll inflate on here. I've got the electric pump. So first things first, I'm going to get my TP tent up about there. I found when I first got this wigwam style tent, it was new to me. It's octagonal shape. I just find the front and the back, so south, north, east, west, the four main cardinal points, get some sort of structure, open the door, pop the pole in. Sometimes you'll rip one of the pegs out, and then you go around and do the other 4 pegs, so you've got the 8 pegs in the fly sheet, and then start going it out, and then you have to readjust that as well. The best thing to do, I'd sort of say, is don't put any of the pegs in tight to start with, because you'll almost certainly have to do them again. So you can see there's a central pole. So there's a stove jack. It's a little flat there. I could actually have this as a normal tent, but I never use it for anything else but hot tent camping. So that's a heat resistant pad, like a soldering iron or an oven glove. So you do get plenty of ventilation coming through the tent. I've seen people who try and get rid of that by putting skirts down. I just think that's a little bit dangerous, to be honest. What I do, I've got an inner tent which is almost like a semicircle that would go in the back, and it's got the bathtub design, so it keeps the drafts out, and it's got like a mosquito net window. You'll see me put it up shortly. So the back half of the tent will be my sleep quarters, my bedroom. The stove will be there with the wood, and then I'll have a ground sheet there just with my kit on. So that's the main body up, and here's the inner tent. So that's the outer up. It's got 2 doors, the one at the front, the in and out door for me. The stove will go there. It's got a vent there. Can you see? There's my inside. I might just need to stretch that out a little bit, give it a bit more tension. And then the back, it's like half of an octagon. So that's my bedroom in there. Can you see? It's got the bathtub, like a ground sheet sewn in up to about there. That does keep the worst of the wind out. But you want the wind coming through here, or the airflow, for the safety of the stove. So that's the hardest bit really. The chopping the wood was actually easy. Getting the tent up is getting definitely easier, but I find putting the inner up still a little bit of a struggle. But the good thing is, I said there's a front door and a back door. To do the back of the octagon, half of an octagon, I just open the back door, peg it out from there. So that's it up now. I've got most of my stuff off the bike. You can see I've put that ground sheet out to start with. The heavy duty one will be going on that shortly. There's my sleep area. Put my German army ground sheet down just to protect myself from cold off the ground, to protect the sleeping mat. I'm just going to inflate that now. Sleep mat is the X-Ped Sin Mat 7. I think that means it's 7 centimeters deep. Air pockets. It's got 2 valves, inflation, deflation, and here's the pump. Takes about 90 seconds to get that inflated. There you go, next to no time. Sleeping bags, and I've got plenty of room on the back for all my clothes, anything I want during the night. This is USB-C rechargeable, so I can give that a charge overnight. It helps deflate it as well, really makes it easier packing it up in the morning. So the sun's starting to drop, probably got about another hour, possibly less of daylight left. It's got pretty much everything erected in the tent. Got me 2 bags of wood there, my 2 cans of lager. Got most of my kit in the tent. It's my sleep area, got a sleeping bag, some thermal tent shoes. Going to be putting my stove there shortly. And here it is, the Woods Walker titanium hot tent stove. A few accessories, CO alarm, just a thermometer so I can see what temperatures I'll get up to. Second stove jack, dampening plate, and that's the cage for drying the wood. So first up, here's the body of the stove. Get the legs out first. It's all hinged, just comes open like that. Couple of rubbers there to protect the glass. If I just show you, there's some metal clasps. And that's pretty much it. What I have done is I've made myself a protector. I don't want the floor burning out because it's only very thin titanium, so I just got an old baking tray. It's not a very good job, but I've just put it in there as a liner. Adds a bit of weight onto it, not much, because I want this to last for years, to be honest. So that's something I've just put together. That's the door there, and here's the lid. Again, it just goes on the clasps, and that's it. It's got a nice side window there, so I have that facing out into the tent. I've also got a window on the front door. And that's it, ready to go in the tent. So next up is the flue, and I do use the gloves for this. You may see what I mean. That's an adapter to connect it to the stove, and that will go on the top. That's what they call a spark arrestor. And there's these rings to keep it in shape like bangles. Can you see how sharp that is? It's got what they call shape memory. So it rolls up in that shape, and you'll see what happens when I roll it out. It's quite noisy. Quite magic. Just goes into its shape. You know, very sharp edges, so it's just sliding those bangle rings up. You don't want to be cutting yourself, and also there's a lot of soot inside. So the diameter's got to be wide enough to go over that. Right, I'm now going to take the gloves off because you do need it for this. You just need to tighten that up now. Can you see that? That's the adapter. That's going to go down. These are going to fit into the slots on the top of the wood burner, and then you turn it, quarter of a turn, locks in. So that's the locking collar. Okay, can you see I've got all the rings on to hold it in shape, and then I just need to get the spark arrestor on the top. Can you see that? It's got an outer and an inner wall. This is probably the most awkward bit, getting that in. Oh, having said that, it's gone easy today. And there's the flue for the stove. Anybody who's got the Woods Walker stove, or if you've seen other people using it, you'll think that doesn't look very high. It used to be a lot higher than this, and it came with 3 guy ropes. I just got fed up of pegging it out, and so I took some advice. I watched quite a few videos, sought out different opinions, and I shortened mine. So the rule of thumb, I think, is get above the tent where the stovepipe comes out, take from your shoulder and take about a metre or a yard above that, then a few inches over that, and that ought to be ample. So that's what I've done, I've shortened it. you got to play around with it just to make sure it's taut and it's not bending too much. It pays to take your time now, because once it's hot you can't really do it, or you can but you risk burning yourself. That feels very stable. So there you have it. There's my wood burner. I'm going to be sat there tonight eating. Lovely, that window, seeing all the ambient fire and flames come out, the light and the heat. Going to be cooking on there. That feels very, very sturdy. I'm happy with that. It does pay you to spend quite a bit of time getting it really right now, because once it's lit, it's too late really. There's the door. Can you see? There's sliding airflow there, vents, and the slot is round the back. That controls the second airflow at the back. There's a slot in the flue there. Can you see? Just like a carburettor almost. So you can control the airflow at the front and at the back, so it distributes the heat evenly and it sucks all the hot gases up through the flue. Take a bit of time setting it up carefully, and I would urge to just always use gloves. That metal there is so thin and sharp, sliding those rings almost like bangles up and down, it'd be so easy to slice your finger. Okay, almost ready to pack up and get inside. So that's the wood I chopped this afternoon. That's the remainder of it. Can you see in the cage? I'll be drying it off on there. And that's the wood that I bought. That's what I'll be burning first. I'll start the fire with that, generate some heat, and as this starts drying out, I'll start feeding that on. It's incredible how quick it does dry. As always with the wood burner, there's a CO alarm at the top, just in case there's any build up of fumes. That'll give me a warning. But I try and cook and chill out in here with the doors open. You quite often need it because there's so much heat. With that, I just literally, can you see the dot? I can just get temperatures. Look, it says 3 degrees. That's Celsius, by the way. That might be a bit warmer. No, less actually. Can you see about 1.5 degrees? The wood is about 4.4. That's the dry wood. 5.8, 5.9, 6.1. That's a lot warmer than that. And then when that fires up, you'll get some really high temperatures come out of that, especially on the flue as well. Just good fun. It's 10 to 5 now. There's quite a decent little sunset over there. So it's getting dark now, the sun's dropped, and it's also getting cold. The temperature's rapidly dropping. It's my bike over there. The reflective sidewalls. Got that guy rope tape, and I'll be locking it later, but I am going to ride that down to the subway tonight. I don't want to leave that here. There you go. Just looking out on the platform. Cyclists going by. So I'm just going to light the fire, I think. I've just battened that down, smaller pieces, just to help the fire get going. And I don't know why, whenever I hot tent camp, I always like to use a fire steel to get it going. So you get the fire going with the vents there. You'll hear it roar quite quickly. Then to try and slow the rate of consumption down, you can monitor it. You can adjust the rate of burn with the vents. It's that balance. You're constantly keeping it from not burning too fast, but not smoking either. So I've got the dampener at the back right open. These will start drying really, really quickly. Then they can soon go in. So I've put a couple of my own logs there, some smaller pieces across. As usual, start a fire with my fire steel. Got a little platform there, a bit of cardboard, start it on, got some of these cotton makeup wipes. They'll ignite very quickly. Got a few more just in case it doesn't take, and a couple of these wood burner starters. They're just woodwork shavings out of all. These are just shavings out of woodwork shop, compressed with wax. They burn really well for a few minutes. And then I've got the batten wood there, small bits just to get it going. And my trusty fire steel, which is still giving sparks, just. So that's what I'm going to try and ignite with the fire steel. There you go, straight away. Get one of those started. Put that in. Get the second one going. And then start feeding these small bits in across. Within a few minutes it's going quite well. So these will really start smoking quite quick. In fact, that's warm already. Can you see the smoke coming off it already? That's just been going a few minutes. You have to be really careful with these because it can smoke the tent out. And then I'll start feeding those in. Then gradually bring in the stuff from in outside, putting it there and doing the same with that. And then when it's really hot on top, about 6:30, I'll think about doing some garlic bread. You may hear the roar already. I've already half closed the dampener and the vents at the front. Gosh, the heat coming off that is unbelievable. I was really cooling down. I got changed. I've got a cotton t-shirt, I've got a fleece mid-layer, and I've got this puffer jacket. I'm going to have to take this off shortly. These things really do chuck out a lot of heat. Okay, I bought a baking sheet out from home. We use these on our barbecue at home actually. Keeps most of the grease off the barbecue itself. You just clean these and then every few barbecues chuck them away. So I've just trimmed it down with my knife. I'm going to put it on the top there. Let that heat up. And then I've got a garlic bread. So I'm going to start off with garlic bread. At home this morning I defrosted a 12-inch pizza overnight and then sliced it into 4 quarters. So each of those, there's 2 quarters in there, 2 quarters in the other bag. What I want to do is open those up a little bit and just sprinkle some water on the bottom of them, on the base, stop it burning. Then I think, cook it on the baking mat like the garlic bread, but I want to be able to open them up and just get an idea of how they're cooking. I've never done pizza before camping. I once saw a guy who had actually made at home a titanium oven. He took that out on the camp and used a gas cartridge burner to heat it, and he cooked a pizza with that. So I know it's possible. So I've got 4 attempts to get it right tonight. Never had pizza, never had garlic bread. So it's a bit of a continental tea tonight. French garlic bread, Italian pizza, and my choice of beer is, I bought it because I like the design of the can, Cruzcampo Sevilla. Cerveza, that's beer in it. Cerveza de Andalusia, España. Beer of Andalusia, Spain. Brewed by in the UK. Slight letdown. I like the taste of it though. And about a year ago, when I was replacing my plates and my cutlery at Go Outdoors, I saw a set of 3 tongs and I thought, probably never use them, but I think they were quite cheap. I thought they'd be just the job tonight for taking it off, turning it, opening up, get an idea of how it's cooking. I've just set the timer for 10 minutes. Probably check it about 8. So yeah, the first time I've used these. So I've just opened up the pizza. I'm just going to sprinkle on a couple of drops of water on the bottom, just to rub it in. Clean my hands. Then I'm going to wrap that back up lightly, try and make a little bit of an oven, and also that'll help me undo it and just give an idea how it's cooking. So that garlic bread's been on 4 minutes. I think I'm going to put my first slice of pizza on now. I do know sprinkling some water on the naan bread when I did a curry last year on this really worked. It's so kind of juicy and floury and doughy when I took it off. And I think that was sprinkling a bit of water on the bottom. You can see the garlic butter starting to come out already. So I've got 4 goes at this. My first ever go at cooking pizza while I'm camping. Keep turning that with my tongs. Maybe I didn't need the baking sheet, I don't know, but I did read up a little bit about cooking pizza on a wood burner, and that was the recommendation by the people. Use a baking sheet, especially if you do it in an oven. And I had them anyway, so I thought, well, I might as well. And I've got my first beer. My shoes make a good cup and can holder. Cheers. Oh boy, that I do like that lager. I do like that, I really do. Okay, the garlic. I think in hindsight I should have watered the bottom of that as well, or the whole of it, and then turned it. I've gone over to the orange light. It's the only one that doesn't dazzle me. The garlic bread tastes fine, it's really nice. It's a bit burnt on the underneath, so I think in hindsight I should have watered that as well. We'll see what the first piece of pizza comes out like. As I said, I've got 4 to experiment with. Oh, definite success with the pizza. So the trick I would say is, yes, definitely water the bottom. So I've just put the second slice on. About 15 minutes I'm doing it. You may hear that sizzling. I put quite a bit of water on that one. The garlic bread's okay. That wasn't a success. I can eat most of it. Some of it I've just cut off and thrown away. But this is absolutely lovely. Hot tent camping, pizza and beer. Wonderful. That's the third slice of pizza, the third quarter. I've just checked the bottom. It's starting to brown. You can see all the feet coming off. The cheese is melted. Salami's cooked. I've just put a knife in, you know, just to make sure it's hot, safe enough to eat. So the pizzas have definitely been a success. The garlic bread was okay, but I'd say I had to cut about a third of it off and throw it away because it was badly burnt on the bottom. So I would say water the bottom of it, even though it's garlic bread, because the heat coming off that is just so hot. It really is. You see, I'm probably airing this. I had a little bit of condensation come off the beer cans, and it must have dribbled down onto my inner sleeping bag, my inner liner. So anything like that you can just dry here. I've already had to take my top off. It's so hot, even with the door open. Anyway, pizza slice number 3. You can see I've stoked the fire up. So I want to eat my tea now without having to tend to the fire. So I think the secret to the pizza is water the bottom, definitely. Keep your eye on it, move it around. Eventually turn it upside down a little bit just to make sure the top's hot. But just keep your eye on it. You see I've put the cage for the wood back on. But yeah, the baking sheet, I think that's helped as well. Anyway, bon appetit and cheers. Final slice of pizza steaming away. And my beer. Gosh, I can really hear the traffic over there. Gonna let my tea go down, do some washing up. There's not a lot to do really, is there? It's a great thing about this. Silver paper can be bagged, so can the baking sheet. I might take that home and reuse it, I don't know. Eat this, wipe everything down, have a beer, then we'll head down to the subway. Okay, I've switched off the coloured lights inside. Stoke the fire up a little bit, but close the vents halfway. I'm just leaving the tent for about 15 minutes. I was going to walk down to the subway, but ever since I've had my bike stolen a couple of years ago, the old Caribou, I never really let this out my sight. So I'm going to ride down there, It's only a couple of minutes down there. Put the backlight on solid. Put the backlight on steady. Gosh, it's getting cold out here already. You can tell by the condensation on the bike. Okay, I feel I've left the tent safe through experience. Hope it doesn't blow up. Who knows? So I'm going to go through the archway that I came in. I've got the wood. And just as last time, I saw lots of head torches going by. Big groups of runners come along here at night. Look, lots of cyclists along there by the look of it. Runners. Yeah, they've all gathered along there. If you come back from the Yate direction, Pucklechurch, as I often do, you can avoid going up to that point in the junction by taking this little slipway down here, which is what I'm doing. And I didn't realise till last year when I hot tent camped here, there's actually a little stream down there, a river. And right opposite where we come out here, that would be on the Bath to Bristol section of the cycle path. There's a path that I'm going to ride down, and to be honest, it's easier to overshoot what I'm looking for, because I did it recently in the daytime, so can you imagine what it's going to be like at night? We're going to go down and look at this subway. So I'm camped behind this wall just over there. This is the slipway down to the Bath to Bristol section. And right opposite down there is a footpath. That's what I'm going to ride down, and that'll take me along up past the junction, the top of the triangle, where we looked down on earlier on. We were coming from that lower level. So let's go down there. And to get down to that level underneath the railway, it's a bit of an incline down. So I need to be a little bit careful going down here. And also careful that I don't overshoot it, because I did recently in the daytime. It's so easy to ride by. Some people down there with head torches. Dog walkers by the look of it. Somewhere along here you've got to look for a little gap in the trees. Is that it there? Possibly. Yeah, a couple of steps up. Pretty sure this is it. I'm going to try both cameras here, so I'm not sure which one's going to give me the best picture. This is that tunnel. It's not that unknown, because you can see there's spray paint, graffiti. Once I discovered this, I just knew I wanted to come back at night time. So the railway would have gone right underneath, the railway would have gone right overhead here. That's reinforced, so that would have been track bed as well. There's some steps, because that really goes steeply up that hill. And that's the track along there. Can you see runners going along there? Lots of runners going by. I was just going to say there's someone down there. That's my own light. That's quite a sight, isn't it? Lots of runners going by. Gosh, really bright fluorescent clothing on, catches the light. I think the graffiti actually gives it character, to be honest. Why? Keep thinking there's someone down there. It's my own light. This is quite amazing here, actually. Walking through here. As soon as I realised this was here, I just knew I wanted to come here at night. That was really nice seeing all the runners go by. Because I was looking at them at 90 degrees from the side, they were really capturing the lights of my video light and also my head torch, all their reflective gear. That was pretty amazing. And every now and again I've been looking down at that thinking there's somebody down there, suddenly realise it's my own bike. Right, I really need to look where I'm going down there. Try not to shine the light right into the camera. Hopefully that arch is coming out there. Just really wanted to come down here. As I said, it's been quite mild recently, but very wet. But the temperature today has been cold all day, even though there's a clear blue sky. There was a cold wind, and as soon as that sun sank, you could tell the drop in temperature. Probably see all the condensation coming off my breath, and I could feel the coldness in my fingers. And when I went to get my bike, I can see on top of the light there was the beginning of frost. So I'm going to put a cover over the saddle tonight. I'm going to lock it up very thoroughly, put a tripwire between it and my tent, and I'll probably put one of the tent guy ropes through it, so anybody who tries to tamper it during the night is going to make a lot of noise and disturb me and wake me up. As I say, ever since I had my bike stolen on that train a couple of years ago, I'm very cautious with it. Gosh, this is amazing. Hear the sounds of dripping coming down. It's very atmospheric. It's very atmospheric up here. With my breath, the dripping water, just that constant roar of the ring road over there. Okay, I'm going to ride back up to the station, secure my bike, and then get back in my tent and really ramp up the heat in the stove, and then kind of get ready to go down for the night. Right, back to the tent and warm up. Okay, I've got back to the tent, I've ramped the stove up, boiling some water for a hot water bottle. You can probably see I've really stoked the fire up. I've got some water, looks like it's about to boil. I'm going to make a hot water bottle up, put it in my sleeping bag, just drying my shoes out, they got a bit damp just going out a moment ago. That's the remainder of the wood that I've dried, and this is the remainder that needs to be dried. I'm going to put it all on tonight, I might as well. You can tell by the outside of the tent there's going to be a frost tonight. You can already see the sparkling forming, yet in here it's like a sauna. So here's my gun, let's just fire it at 175 degrees. What's it like on the hot plate? 270, it's varying, isn't it? 228, 205. Oh gosh, 303. 300 plus. You can see why I burnt the garlic bread. The flue, 160, 70, 130 as it leaves. Just the tent look, 21, 20, 22. That's central heating temperature, and it's 17 by the door, 11 down, 9, 8, 7, about hovering around about 8, isn't it? It's getting on for 10 PM now, and I've put every single piece of wood in there bar one. I've just kept one as a kind of poker in case I really need to manipulate it a little bit, but it's giving off a lot of heat. I bought in the heavy duty ground sheet. I'm just trying to get that drying here overnight. That's what I'll pack up on tomorrow morning, and I'm just going to let that burn itself out. When I feel it's safe to leave it, I'll start making my way into my bedroom and my sleeping bag. It's ever so cozy in here. Okay, let's turn the fairy lights off, and I'll turn the video light off to give you an idea of the ambience in here. Just lovely and dark, just the glow of the fire pumping out a lot of heat. I really have put all the logs in there. I've jam-packed it full, so I think that's going to do a slow burn for about another half an hour. As I said, I'll give it a good poke. When I feel it's safe to leave it, I'll make my way into my bedroom and start getting to bed. Okay, that's the fire. Really stoked all the woods at the back. It seems to be burning down. I've just tested the CO alarm as well. I tested it before I left home. I've just tested it now before going to bed. Still okay. Got my tea towel just drying in front of it over my cycling shoes. If I put some light on, you can see. And I think I'm just going to get in my sleeping bag, so I'm still warm. It hasn't cooled down yet, but outside you can see there's icicles forming already on the ground, that sparkling effect. I'm not sure if it's going to be ice overnight, but I think there's going to be a frost in the morning. So the quicker I get in my warm sleeping bag, the better. So I'll say goodnight to you once I'm nicely tucked up in my sleeping bag. Okay, I'm in the inner tent. Mosquito net there, so I can still see the wood burner glowing. As I said earlier on, it's got the bathtub fly sheet, so I'm protected from the cold wind coming in. I'm in my Softy 10 Harrier sleeping bag. It's got a survival rating down to about -12, I think, and it's definitely a good sleeping bag. Plus that I've got my cotton inner, and I've got the hot water bottle down by my feet. I've kept my socks on, and I'll sleep with my hat, but I've had to get out of all the other layers. But I've got them right next to me in case I wake up in the night and I'm cold. Anyway, I'm going to say good night. I'll see you in the morning. Good night. Lights out.